Everyone, RemanX here with an early warning. Start saving some tech gear. If you guys haven't heard, there's a brand new team coming around the bend here, and it's called the PIM Particle Team, and they are going to eat your particles alive. So we're going to start with the characters that already exist, and we're going to right to it. You guys will see that I've already, I know, say it ain't so, they're level 75. G12. I never thought I would pull the trigger on that one, but they've consumed a ton of my tech resources, and I've got to get ready for Yellow Jacket and the rest of the rumored team. Let's come down the pike here, help me gonna beat DD4, right? Well, that's the way they're selling it, so I better hope so. I hope they get the same symbiote love where they get, you know, the DD, the Dark Dimension tag, and get some type of raid relevance. Remains to be seen, but I'm going to tell you something cool. The cool part about what they did recently was they actually brought more tech gear into the game. And so I'm going to show you guys this. This off piece is typically the slot that winds up being the hardest to farm, but you're going to see there's still some more that are on there. And we're going to go over the guidelines here. Remember, it's consumed by two different pieces. And so it does draw quite a bit each time. So go to this, and you'll see right here, they actually added it to the isotopes. So kind of cool. You can get ahead of it by farming, if you're farming ions, or more importantly, if you're farming some of the additional gear, especially these catalysts. And I'm going to go right into why that is important in a moment too, because we're gonna show you guys what the projected cost for G14 really looks like. So let's start farming some gear. So today's haul will look like this. So we got, that's 2, it's 5, 8, 12, 15, 19, and we don't have the isotope energy, so we're going to hold off on that. So 19, and then we can figure out where to get from the isotope energy. It is a good start. So let's break it down for you. Let's show you guys what it looks like. We're going to use the gear tier ISO list. By the way, guys, MSFGG has an awesome bot. Love the guys over there. Support them if you can. This bot is plugged into my server, !Discord. It gives you this information, but these guys keep this updated and relevant when the patches go live, and it is a labor of love for the community. So we'll talk about specifically right here. You guys will see that it's 177 to take him from 8 to 15, and just recently he was at the bottom of my roster. So you can use that as kind of a guideline. Around that amount will probably be what Yellow Jacket does take. Obviously, most pieces I think we're looking at look like there's no purple in the 14 to 15 tier. I got to double check that, but I didn't see any. So obviously, if you look at this crunch here, it does take a big jump. When you look at SBCs from 14 to 15, this is nearly double in a lot of these categories. It is going to be a long consumption of resources. Your superior catalysts are going to be diminished quickly. It is something you have to be aware of. So you want to make sure you're target farming these daily if you can, because if your plan is when the patch hits in a week or two to be ready for the team, because it looks like they'll probably get a rework. The idea is a PIM particle team with 3 characters, 2 or 3 characters coming out with the patch. Could bring this team out of the basement. So I've already started to prep for it, but more importantly, like I said, Yellow Jacket does look like he is a mini Phoenix designed for the global nodes where Phoenix won't be able to be used. And again, there's been some concern about that. We're not really sure what they meant by the legendary requirements. It could be that there's a legendary tag on specific nodes and you have to use all legendaries, or it could be more that they wanted to take Phoenix off of certain nodes to still make them challenging without having to deal with a Phoenix factor and then throw a mini modus. So realistically, these are farms. The early warning system is there's the potential that one of these characters could be bio. I know that there's been rumors between, what is it, Ghost, and stature. Still unknown. Those will be released down the line. But the rumor mill is talking a lot about what is happening here. And I think it's so important to make sure that you're ready for these. And so, again, the other thing you got to remember is we're consuming a lot of purple gear. So another rumor is that we're going to see a team get reworked that's in the bottom of our roster as well. And it's kind of been that way for a lot of the patches. If you guys think about it, we saw Sinister Six, and speaking of tech characters, we saw Sinister Six, and Wave 1 as a surprise in there. And so each patch has brought up another team that's gotten a little mini rework, like Hydra 2.0, things like that have actually been brought up out of the basement. I was thinking they'd probably release a character around that, but the fact that it's such a pertinent rumor means that we may see some of our precious purple resources that we use for getting new characters become diminished. Now that means something. If the announcement for DD4 goes live in the next couple of weeks, I think we expect a level cap potentially this patch, which means gold and all these other resources become important as we begin to battle our competitive wars with teams that we need to build up to counter what our opponents are doing in our tiers. Otherwise, we'll have our own tiers flowing. So get ahead of it. Don't spend any of your G14 maps. I wouldn't spend a lot of superior gear unless you have a targeted team that is doing something specific that you need them to do. Don't waste any superior mats on them. Let me do that. I'll wreck my roster for you. I do it every time. So it is something that is absolutely vital. And again, like I said, it's no surprise. We had Dr. Octopus and Mysterio. Yeah, Mysterio was a surprise. He's actually surprisingly good. I mean, I don't think he's a joke of MSF anymore. Well, he might still be, but he was surprisingly good. Yeah, I took him in G14. He did okay in DD3, but I wouldn't recommend doing it because just didn't do enough. But that's the point. There are a lot of tech characters that have either been reworked, added to the game, and now with a whole parade of them coming through the door with a couple of potential reworks at the bottom of our roster, you're gonna see those resources diminish. So if you guys are on your way through DD3 and you're making those decisions and you're saying, but I could bring up another tech character, don't. Because probably the characters that you had for the first time, because I think Minerva was the only really essential one that we threw at people. I would say the other ones don't matter as much anymore. So don't let the crunch get you down. Don't panic. Don't go into that panic mode, because if you really, really wanted to and you had to bring up a character, let's show you what that time could cost you. $9.99 to equip 2 pieces of gear, or 950 cores for 1. So realistically, guys, we're trying to save you money and resources. I know you guys see the Kraken's account here and you're like, well, I want to do it too. I don't know that these are going to be immediately relevant, because if they're only relevant in Dark Dimension, they're not going to be a raid team. But I am hoping that they looked at the blueprint for symbiotes and what happened with them and are using that as a team. Because I think that's smart if they do. If they can give us another raid team, another potentially great team, and then maybe add those as a trait for the upcoming Greek slider, then it is a lot better. All right, guys, address a couple of rumors here. We're going to talk about the next legendary, and I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't know. I don't know if these guys are going to unlock the next legendary. I will tell you it's a formula that we've seen repeated twice now with Asgard and now specifically X-Force, where 2 characters are existing in your roster and more characters are added, and the legendary requirement comes out shortly after that. Some of what they're talking about makes sense. I know it's something we want to hear about, but when the announcement's ready, and I'm sure it will probably be down to the end of next patch, a team like this does have the blueprint for it, And if it is vital in Dark Dimension, it may be something you want to build anyway. So we'll give you guys the full rundown when we build them live, when they go live, when the patch launches soon. But I've already started building, and I think you should save some up in case you want to start anticipating the value they had to your roster. And again, with all the tech characters coming out, you want to start building the superior catalyst anyway. And let's go. All right, guys, that's it. RemanX with the last warning for you. Could be Blade. Seems to make sense because Supernatural, there's going to be a show coming out in December, right? We all know WandaVision is coming out. It seems to almost make sense. But that's why we have no idea. Because when has a game ever made sense? Love you guys much. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the video. That's it for today. I'll talk to you soon.